Hello, and welcome back to the Let Me Add to That podcast. My name is Elizabeth Graswich, Executive Director of Public Affairs and Communications at the Los Angeles County Office of Education. We are the largest regional education agency in the United States. We serve 80 school districts and nearly 2 million children. We are excited to use this platform to take a deep dive into the conversations surrounding our students and schools in LA County. October is Head Start Awareness Month. This is a time where we celebrate the nation's longest-running early learning program, highlighting its impact in providing education and family support. Joining us today are three guests who can help us paint the whole Head Start picture. We have our Head Start and Early Learning Director here at LACOE, Mr. Luis Bautista. Welcome, Luis.
Thank you.
Next, we have our Deputy Superintendent and Head Start alum, Dr. Ruth Pérez. Hi, Dr. Pérez.
Hi there.
Last but not least, we have our El Monte City School District Superintendent, Dr. Maribel Garcia, who is also a Head Start alum. Hi, Dr. Garcia.
Hello. So happy to be here.
Wonderful to have all of you here today. Let's just start the conversation with kind of defining what Head Start is for people who may not know. Luis, do you mind helping with that?
Yeah, of course, Liz. Head Start, as you mentioned, is a federally funded early childhood education program that's been around now for 60 years. And in those 60 years, more than 40 million children and families have benefited from its comprehensive approach to supporting the whole child, the whole family, and the whole community. What it focuses on is not only the early learning and school readiness of children, but also supports their health, their nutrition, and their social emotional development. And I think one of the things that is vital about Head Start is that, again, it addresses the whole child and also supports families in overcoming barriers, gaining access to healthcare, and making sure that they are as engaged in their child's overall school readiness and development, and giving them opportunities to also become part of shared decision-making, shared governance, and really engaging them in terms of setting goals for themselves as well.
Thank you for that. And we're so excited to have Dr. Garcia and Dr. Pérez here today. We've talked for a while about trying to showcase the different voices of Head Start and people who've graduated from the program. We talk about graduates from high school and college, and so it's kind of fun to think about it in terms of Head Start. So would you both mind sharing a little bit about your Head Start journey and maybe the impact it may have had on you or your family, any special memories of it?
Happy to add to the conversation. Just adding on to what Mr. Bautista had to say, in the Monte City School District, Head Start is the entryway to educational programs. And so we look at it as an opportunity to welcome our families into our educational systems. And I think that really captures the experience that I had as a child. My parents were immigrants to this country, and they were looking for opportunities and connections. And so the Head Start program was just this wonderful, welcoming environment that really helped them to understand and begin to navigate the educational system. I credit much of my family's success in understanding educational systems and programs to those relationships and connections that were made in that program. A fun fact, we didn't have many resources growing up, and so the only pictures that I have of my childhood come from the Head Start program, the pictures that the classroom teachers took, that the program took, that were added into our family's albums. And so they really just represent the importance of resourcing families so that children can unleash their potential. And I benefit those programs, those relationships, and, the investment that my parents made in building community with the Head Start program as to why I'm here in this seat now.
Such great points.
Yeah, that's really lovely, and my memories are very similar. And in addition to that, I just recall this how Head Start did specifically engage my parents, my mother in particular. I actually have memories of them coming to visit and my mom sitting with them in the living room, and I'm wondering, who are these people? And they, talking, I'm sure it was about the program. And I think about the fact my parents had just moved from Puerto Rico, and my mom did not speak English. And we didn't know anybody in the Bronx, New York, where we started living. And had they not, I think, reached out to my family, I'm not so sure that I would have had the opportunity to learn and grow the way that, Head Start provides children that enriched opportunity. I would have been stuck in an apartment all of the time until I was ready to start kindergarten. But instead, through that family engagement component, they reached out to my family, and as a result, it really impacted me. So I'm very grateful for that.
Liz, if I can add to that, I think here you see today, right, with Dr. Pérez and Dr. Garcia, that Head Start really is a launchpad for future leaders and strong communities in this country. And I think a large component of that is because of the family support services that are offered and the parent education and leadership opportunities that parents can access as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just about the children themselves. It's this whole wraparound service. Can you speak a little bit more to that? What are the other benefits beyond, just the, education, and that start of education is so important, but there are so much more.
There's a whole host of services, right, that children and families can access. Separate and apart from what's happening in the classroom with the educational support, there are nutrition and health support. So children gain access to all kinds of screenings. Vision, hearing, developmental screenings, right? All to really support the child's overall development, but also to identify early on, right, if there are needs that we need to address so that they can become fully ready to enter kindergarten and then succeed, in their academic careers. We also, of course, offer quite a bit of mental health and social emotional developmental supports, and that's for both children and adults, right? So we have mental health professionals that are working, supporting teachers by going into classrooms, identifying strategies that would help address behaviors, and also to support, teachers' own well-being, right, in terms of how to manage classroom day in, day out. And like I mentioned earlier, those family support services and the leadership opportunities that families gain also are critical in order to make sure that a child's overall development stays at the focus of what everyone is doing.
Well, and from your experiences as superintendents and district leaders, how have you seen that benefit students and families?
Well, I will say that in the Monte City School District, we appreciate the partnership that we have with LACOE because LACOE's, the standards that they've created for that 0 to 5 opportunity that we were able to bring to our community is just so wonderfully, it's cultivated in a way that allows us to do this nice warm handoff into the K-12 pipeline. And I'm so excited that we have TK in the mix now. Mm-hmm. I think that's something to bring up here because it's really, truly the full continuum, right, from pregnant mothers to hopefully, some college access at the end of the 12th grade. And so I appreciate the partnership because they're able to do, in our Head Start programs, we're able to do all those early screenings, early engagements. And so as parents transition into the TK grades and kindergarten and so forth, we're able to really welcome our families and provide the resources and services that they need to ensure that every kid has that wonderful opportunity in the school system. And equity and access is at the root of this conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Head Start really serves a lot of low-income families. And I think about, the opportunities, the enrichment that, children benefit from having that exposure at such early years that they would otherwise not have. And all of that really contributes to having a kindergartner that's just ready, to start school. But not having those opportunities, you have children that fall behind very quickly in kindergarten. And it's not equitable, of course, because some children do have those opportunities. But Head Start kind of tries to balance that field for all children so that all our kindergartners can start school, just ready, all of them ready. So
Yeah, and to add to that, what I really, really appreciate is the work that we do with the parents and the parent engagement, because we recognize that parents are children's first teachers. And so the fact that the program, to your point, is this wraparound service that's providing resources to the children in the classroom, but also helping families understand the important milestones and just all the things that need to happen developmentally for kids to be TK and kinder ready. It's truly a partnership that sets kids up for success.
Well, Luis, your program has done some wonderful things around parents. You mind sharing a little bit about the work that you've been doing that's pretty innovative?
Sure, thank you. I mean, one thing that comes to mind, of course, is our Career Development Initiative, or CDI, and it really consists of 5 different pathways. The first one that we designed was specifically for Head Start parents. We wanted to see if anyone was interested in becoming part of early childhood education, getting trained to become an assistant teacher as that first step. And we've been at this for about 3 years now. To date, we've had over 150 people go through that pathway, complete that pathway, with many more sort of in the process now. And over 100 of those folks, many of them Head Start parents, are now employed and working in classrooms. So that is them contributing and giving back, right, to the programs that they benefited from. And it's really exciting to see many of them not just sort of, come in and stay at assistant teacher level, but some of them have moved on to lead teacher. Some of them are earning their BAs now. So we see a great potential here for the future.
And if I can add to that, we have been recipients. So we've seen some of our parents go through the program, and it's just so wonderful. It's wonderful to see their continued connection, the social mobility, the economic mobility that comes from these opportunities, and just the investment in people from the community contributing to community members. It's powerful.
And I got to attend LACOE's graduation of our parents who completed the program. And to see the confidence and the joy that was in the faces of all of them as they were receiving a certificate. I mean, it's just very moving at what it is doing for families, for people individually as well.
You're right, yeah.
And we have such a huge impact. I think we're the largest in the state, and we kind of flip back and forth between being the first or second largest in the nation, right? So pretty significant size.
That's true, Liz. We get to serve more than 7,000 children and families here in LA County, and we do that in partnership with 16 delegate agencies. 9 of them are private nonprofits, and the other 7 are school districts, like El Monte City School District. And our programs vary in size, right? And they vary in focus. Our smallest agency is the Blind Children's Center. And as you can tell by the title, right, they have a very specialized focus, working with visually impaired children and supporting their families. But we have large districts, right, that are serving well over 1,000 children, right, in their communities. And so it's just great to have that kind of footprint, right? But we're not the only grantee in LA County, right? We're one of well over 24 grantees. And so altogether, more than 21,000 children and families in LA County benefit from Head Start and early Head Start services every year.
That's awesome. Head Start has been in the news quite a bit in the last year, so it's been facing some challenges. Can you share a little bit about what those challenges have been and kind of how LACOE is working to support them?
Sure. I mean, one thing, of course, that's always a challenge is funding, right? We know that a high-quality early childhood education program like Head Start, needs resources, right? We want to make sure that we're paying our teachers and our staff the salaries that they deserve. We want to make sure that we're providing the highest quality level of service. And so, that is always something that we're mindful of, right? And always working with members of Congress to underscore the need for continued support and continued funding. Currently, we are flat funded, and it looks like we're going into the 3rd year of flat funding, which means that we're not getting any additional dollars, right? So we're working with the same level of funding that we've had for 3 years now, and rents aren't staying at the same level, right? Salaries do keep going up, and so we're working very closely with our delegate agencies and with other partners throughout LA County to ensure that we have access to the resources that we need, so that we're not sacrificing the quality of services nor the access to our programs.
Yeah, I'm very proud of LACOE because we're definitely very strong advocates for sustainable funding for our Head Start program. And that advocacy, although others may not actually see it on a day-to-day basis, it's the reality of what we do to be able to preserve and continue to have the support all the way from Congress to continue this viable program that's been in existence for 60 years. It's just amazing. But we know that sustainable funding means that we have the ability to continue to provide professional development for teachers and to work closely with our delegate agencies to expand their outreach to parents so that no child or family misses out on the opportunity to bring their children to Head Start.
You know, we've talked about how valuable of a resource this is for parents. And so when we think about the role that district leaders and educators can play, you know, what has been successful in your experience, Dr. Garcia, in your district?
Yeah, we one of the things that we do year after year is really promote the programs that we have available. You know, as new families are forming, it's an opportunity to share the resources that are available in the community. And oftentimes we have to start from the very beginning, right? These are new families that come into the region or coming to this country for the first time. And so there's always this promotion and awareness for the resources that are available to help students and families. I will say that, you know, one of our biggest challenges right now is really trying to navigate the political landscape, right? As we hear in the news that immigration status can play a role. Right now it's not. Mm-hmm. And so just being true advocates for children is right now our North Star.
Yes.
Regardless of the political landscape, we need to keep looking at how we can provide these resources, how we continue to be strong partners, how we leverage resources, and then use our political equity to really inform the implications of these potential harmful changes that can come our way. But we're always sharing the bright spots because you can't talk about Head Start without really acknowledging the bright spots that come from all of these resources. And so it's always telling the story, always recruiting, you know, stopping families all throughout the community and just letting them know that this wonderful resource is available and we're there to support them.
Awesome.
I think one of the things that is really helpful, right, and I think I see that certainly in El Monte, is ensuring those smooth transitions, right, from early childhood education into TK or kindergarten and beyond. And that's really not just in terms of supporting parents and caretakers around sort of what that transition means, but it's really being intentional about, like, what is the data that we've captured, right, along the, you know, years that this child has been in our Head Start or early Head Start program, and how can that data help inform now, right, kindergarten and beyond? So really thinking about sort of making that as smooth as possible, and I think that goes a really long way to just unifying these two systems, right, early childhood and now TK through 12.
You know, as we celebrate this month, and it's an important month, it's a month in which we try to raise awareness for Head Start. What message would you want to share with our listeners about the impact of Head Start and why investing in early childhood education matters now more than ever?
Well, I think for many, many years, we know that the research stands very clear that those 0 to 5 years are so important. And so when you have sustainable programs that are tried and true, that have proven, you know, great results, such as Head Start early childhood programs, we want to make sure that our families are able to access the programs and that we can continue to provide the programs in communities like El Monte where there is a significant need.
I think Dr. Garcia mentioned something that is very important, and that is how critical those first 5 years of life are, right? Mm-hmm. We know that 90% of brain development happens within those first 5 years. So if we can start with mom when she's pregnant or with child as soon as, you know, she or he is born, we have a long period in which to really support overall development and make that child, you know, as ready as possible to enter kindergarten. And I think that's something that's great about, you know, this program is that, you know, we do start working with expectant families and pregnant moms and then offer them the opportunity to participate in early Head Start for the first 3 years of that child's life and then transition to Head Start, you know, when they're 3 and 4.
Yeah. And I'll personalize it and take it even further. The impact that programs like this have on our country. because the individuals, the adults that develop, and succeed as a result of having those experiences from 0 to 5 years old, and the enrichment and that contribution for brain development, you can't measure that. But, I'm grateful myself because this program has been around for 60 years. It must have been like 58 years ago or 59 years ago when I started Head Start. And, like I said, had it not been for the teachers that came knocking on the door to talk to my parents, we lived in an area in the Bronx that was not safe, and there was a park across the street, but we were not allowed to, to go anywhere, for safety, and I would have spent, years just locked up in an apartment, I think about that, and because of how far I've been able to come in life. I've been in education now for 40 years almost, and, and been able to, as a Latina, been able to rise in my own educational career from teacher to superintendent to deputy superintendent here at LACOE. And, I've been truly blessed, but I know that I had help along the way, and I cannot help but really think about the impact that those early years must have had on me. And also just the value that it has provided for me in my heart about the importance of these programs, because as a result of it, I am a strong advocate of these programs like Head Start for children and our families, because I have personally lived, the benefits, and I have reaped the benefits of it. So, and throughout my life, I've been able to contribute in education to other young lives and other families. So that is a contribution to our country. And I'm grateful that, especially for low-income families, that these resources are there so that their children are able to access equitably, experiences that other children have, and we can just level that playing field and continue in this positive direction for our country.
Mm-hmm. I'm reminded that not that long ago I was in D.C. with some of our Head Start parents and some staff, and one of the things that was great was to see them share their stories, obviously, right, and talk about how proud they are about their children's, success in this program. But what was also interesting was to hear from some of the members of Congress and certainly their staff, right, that they recall being in Head Start. Wow. And so here they are doing incredibly important work for, all of us, right? And many years later, they still recall very fondly, being in that classroom. They can remember their Head Start teacher's name, and can remember sort of the things that they were doing. I mean, I think about what I was doing in preschool. I remember juice and graham crackers. And that's about it, but it certainly has a deep impact on many people.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank Dr. Garcia, Dr. Pérez, and Luis for joining us today. Head Start brings us so much joy here at LACOE when we get to see all those beautiful faces, and I look forward to celebrating this month. For more information on Head Start, including enrollment and resources, visit either lacoe.edu, that's LACOE.edu, or prekkid.org.
Please follow the Los Angeles County Office of Education on Instagram and YouTube at Los Angeles COE. That's Los Angeles COE. Or you can find us on Facebook and LinkedIn at Los Angeles County Office of Education.